What up, everybody? This is Big Elbow, chilling with those two little rudos, Averno, Atlantis. And last weekend we went to the Comic Con in Hanford, California. That's about a 20-minute drive from where I stay at in Tulare, California. And it was another Ohana Comic Con. They do a bunch of shows all around here. Cool as usual. I pre-bought my ticket, so it was like $6 to get in. All the vendors were pretty cool. A lot of them I've seen before. Yeah, I had a good time. I didn't do so great actually. Lately I've been in kind of a funk. It's weird shit. Everything's been a little off for me. Anyways, so let's get to the shit that I picked up. So I'll start with the Marvel stuff that I picked up. Everything I got was either 50 cents or $1. So I'm going to start with the 50-cent stuff that I got. And then I'll get to the dollar books at the end. Some dealers had, 50-cent boxes. Others, they had it 2 for $1. Everything worked out pretty good for me. So I'll get into it. I'll start with this. It's a newer Cage by, I don't know how to say that guy's name. All I know is he's the guy that made Dexter's Laboratory. I like Dexter. I like Cage. I figure why the fuck not? It's a number 2. So if it's funny, if I like it, maybe I'll look for number 1 and see what happens. If you watch my haul videos, you know I'm a Joe Casey fan, and I'm slowly putting together this Deathlock run. This is number 2. Joe Casey, Leo Manco. I think I still need about 3 or 4 issues. I won't pay more than 50 cents for them when I find them. I mean, I like it well enough, but not that much. So 50 cents, I got it. Another series I'm putting together. I'm about halfway done, I'd say. Earth X. This is number 6. Sweet ass Alex Ross cover. Interiors by my man JP Leon. And here's Earth X number 10. You see, I got about half of this run done. I found them all for either $1 or 50 cents. These ones were 50 cents. So I just scooped this up randomly. $3.99 price tag, 50 cents. I'm actually a pretty big fan of Coker, and he does the cover and the interiors. I was happy to find when I looked this up, because I was like, ah, shit, I'm going to get myself started on another run that it's going to, take me a bunch of issues before I can read it or something. But to my surprise and joy, I found that this is actually a one-shot. So that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to reading that. I like Moon Knight as a character. Pretty interesting guy. And then I got this Thor for 50 cents. I'm not even sure if this is part of the Walt Simonson run. I don't think it is. Anyways, the reason I got it is because it ties in with a couple of issues of X Factor that I have, where one of the issues that I have, it ends with Angel getting his wings nailed to the wall, and I think it was Harpoon from the I can't remember what those guys are called, but the dude named Harpoon that pinned his ass to the wall. Speaking of X Factor, these issues that I got lead up to the ones that I have before, so I'll have to read these in the backwards order. But here's number 7. The X Factor books are pretty cool. Like they're kind of like soap opera, but they're still cool. Although I like the art in them. I don't think these are Walt Simonson. The later issues that I have are, but I always dug the X Factor costumes. Also, the whole idea of them masquerading as mutant hunters, but actually, they're helping mutants. It was pretty cool. So there's number 7. Here's number 8. And here's number 9. So now I have 7 through 12 of X Factor. I actually had this, my brother had this comic when I was a kid, and I always thought it was cool. I remember at the time, it was my first time seeing the Spider-Woman black costume, which I thought was pretty dope. But anyway, so that's it for the X Factor stuff. Again, I love seeing the original X-Men guys, including Hairless Beast, in those costumes. Were always just some of my favorite looks for the X-Men / X Factor. Next up, I got Wolverine Noir. Well, you know what the fuck it is. Anyways, so I like the cover. I gave it a quick glance on the inside, and the interior art is good. Dennis Claro. I have some of the other. I have the Wolverine Noir book series. I have the Daredevil. I have the Cage, and I have the Spider-Man. So, anyways, so I figure I pick it up, and much like the Moon Knight one, to my surprise, I thought, oh shit, I'm gonna get myself into another long hunt, but I was lucky that this is actually just a one-shot too, and 50 cents, another $3.99 price tag. I'm in. Next up, I have Cable, number 62. My man Joe Casey, Ladron on the art. This actually completes my collection of the Nemesis contract. That's number 4 of 4. So I'm happy about that. Now I can read that. I heard good things about it. I never really read any like Cable solo stuff, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. There's Nick Fury looking pretty badass on the cover there. Again, one of my favorite writers is Joe Casey. I'm curious to see what he does with Cable, and if I like it, then maybe I'll get the rest of that run, because they seem to be pretty cheap. And that is it for the Marvel stuff. Those were all 50 centers. And now I got some. This is all my Image 50 centers. And here is Low Orbit Anthology. I like some of the sketches on the inside, and the interior art looked pretty cool. I forgot what team it is on this. It's like I think it might be Cheeks, Sean Galloway, and his crew or whatever, if I remember right. But yeah, $6.99 price tag for 50 cents. Why the hell not? Then I've got this, The Ride. Foreign Parts. It's also like an anthology. I remember seeing the solicitations for it back in the day. Or I thought I did anyways. When I looked it up, it turned out the solicitations that I seen were for a different volume. But this still looks good on the inside, so I'm happy with it. Again, 50 cents. Then I picked this up, East of West number 9. It's just one of the ones that I'm missing. I have East of West. I've been collecting it since it first started, and my old LCS guy was kind of a jackass, and he would always just fuck up my runs because he just, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get it. Like, oh, okay. So now I have all these gaps in different collections and stuff. And anyway, so that's one of the ones I'm missing from East of West. So I was glad to close that little gap in the run. Here we go, Youngblood number 1. Again, my man Joe Casey. I'm always, like I said, I I like that he always tries to do something different. I was a Youngblood fan when it first came out, back with all the Image hype. That shit was like, man, I think I was in my freshman year of high school, or maybe maybe 8th grade, something like that. But it was an exciting time to be a comic book fan. So, anyways, I just want to see what Joe Casey does with these characters, his take on it, the whole celebrity superhero type thing. Next up, I got Savage Dragon. I have a good run of Dragon comics that I picked up at an LCS that had it going at a business sale, and I picked up a bunch of books for 25 cents. But I never like collected it hardcore or anything. But this cover, for some reason, I always wanted this. I always wanted this book. I just always this Shark Man guy. His name's Mako or something like that. I just always thought he looked cool. He reminds me of those Street Sharks toys. The toys that came out. I remember that my nephew Dallas. If you're watching this, what up, Dally Wally? Had one of those toys, I think. But anyways, I always thought the character looked cool. Him and Dragon, I'm pretty sure they have a nice fight. So I picked that up for 50 cents. Next up, I got Genius Pilot Season Genius from Top Cow. I think this book, it ended up winning. Pilot Season was like a contest or something like that, and I think it ended up winning. So the story kept going. I think they changed the name to Genius Cartel or something like that. And I think the second volume of it came out like late last year, I think. I'm not sure, something like that. Anyways, I remember when the solicitations for it, and it sounded pretty cool, and so I figured I'd give it a shot, see if I like it. Next up, Wildcats from Wildstorm. So I'm sorry, that was it for the Image stuff. Before that was it for the Image stuff, and then that was Top Cow, and this is Wildstorm, pre-DC days. Yeah, man, I'm like, again, Joe Casey, my dude. I like these Wildcat books from Wildstorm, and I'm pretty much closing the gap. I only need a couple more now. Haven't read any of them, but I read all of Wildcats 3.0 year 1. I haven't read year 2, but I have the whole run of year 2, so that's ready to read. And I only got a couple more, so I'm going to read those first. Then I might reread 3.0 year 1, and then I'll start on 3.0 year 2. This one is just one that has sentimental value to me. I like these old, from the late 80s, early 90s, black and white independent comics. Dragon Ring was one that I liked. Not by Dale Keown, although it looks like he might have done that cover, possibly. Does look like it looks like his work. But yeah, it's a number 1, so I figured why not check it out. I like Dragon Ring, and then Dragon Force, and then whatever the shit else that comes with it. And that is it for the 50 centers. And next up, these are the dollar books that I got, which happen to all be Marvel. Earth X number 4, which I end up, like how I've said, I've been off on my shit lately, and I jumped the gun on that, bought it for $1. I ended up finding it 2 different places for 50 cents. Oh well, 50 cents, right? But still, I was kicking myself. I'll say that one. This is pretty sweet. Also sentimental value. This is a book that my brother had when I was a kid, with the Iron Man of 2020. So this is Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 20. Argo Stark, what an asshole. And if I remember correctly, this is one of those times when somebody fucks around, pushes Spidey too far, and then he just goes off and beats the shit out of somebody. And if I remember right, this is one of those times, much like the time when he beat the shit out of Firelord. That was pretty cool. I'm actually gonna see if I can find that one of these days, because that was pretty sweet too. Next up, I got, and this is like I said, my shit has been off. Is weird luck, right? So this is Daredevil number 227. This was the last one that I needed to get the whole to have the whole born again storyline, right? Anyways, so it was a $2 book, but they were half off, so I got it for $1. So I was happy until I looked at the same dealer. In their box, they had a box of $5 graphic novels. In the same damn dealer, I find Daredevil Born Again graphic novel for $5, and I'm like, God damn it! I was like, shit. I didn't even know if I should buy it or if I should buy the graphic novel or if I should buy them both. I guess luckily, I ran into my boy Jason, and I told him, hey, you know what was going on, and I told him, hey man, I was like, this is a fucking, this is a good story, and I told him my situation, and he's like, well, if you don't want it, I'll buy it, and I was like, yeah, that's cool, man, fuck it, at least somebody picked it up. I'll read mine in the solo issues. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to finally reading that. That's the last part that I needed. And then last but not least, I picked this up for my son. If you're watching, shout out Sonny Boy, love you. I just got this so he could add it with his. I gave him my Deadpool. I had a big run of Deadpool comics, mostly the Daniel Way stuff, and also some of the early Ed McGuinness run. But I gave him all him. He liked Deadpool since he was pretty little, so I kicked him down my whole Deadpool run, and I picked this up to him. He could add it to his Deadpool collection, and that was $1. So, anyways, yeah, I had a good time. I'm not sure when the next con coming up is, but I'm sure there'll be one soon. If you guys hopefully you enjoyed the video, hit the like, subscribe, show your friends, all that good stuff. And like I always say, get off of YouTube and go read some fucking comics.